Good evening, fight fans. Straight Talk episode 4 coming live and direct from Jay's Fight Talks bedroom with my co-host, friend and boxing oracle, Liam Tully. First and foremost, most importantly, how are we today, brother?
I'm all good, my friend. I'm all good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Living the dream. I'll have to apologise if you can hear a screaming baby. My grandson just arrived from Wales and I think it's bottle time, so he's currently screaming the house down. So if it's not dogs barking, it'll be babies screaming, but hey ho, this is real content. So yeah, straight talk. We cover the headlines, breaking news, previews and reviews. Where do I start? I mean, it's been a bit of a strange week. Let's start today. Boxer have announced or had a press conference to announce fights. Savannah Marshall was on the card allegedly. Francesca Hennessy was going to be announced on the card. Then Savannah Marshall releases a damning statement, really, which is basically she said, and this is not verbatim, and I'm not quoting her. This is just my take on the statement, but she's basically said that she's been promised a fight. She's been told to come down, travel down from Newcastle, where she's based, or the northeast, to this press conference, and basically she's turned up and there's no seat at the table for her. Basically, she's no fight. She wasn't pre-warned. I believe Liam said this off camera. I think some of her family had bought tickets to the event or the fight, or basically she's got a fight. She's turned up to announce the fight, and then, sorry, your name's not down, you're not coming in, sort of thing. What's your take on this absolute farce?
So this
Liam?
goes back to the launch press conference for the Royal Albert Hall show for Lauren Price and Tasha Jonas. That was 2 weeks ago at the Dorchester in London. So obviously we've been speaking about it, haven't we? We've done it with our co-host over on SW Fight Hub. Here he is, Sam.
There he is. Look, there he is. Good evening,
the card
Sam.
needs Savannah on it, a big female name to help push the ticket sales. And we heard she was going to be down in London for the press conference.
World champion.
And then found it weird how she was there. She was doing the media with Sky. She was there carrying out the interviews when Tasha and Lauren done their interviews, but wasn't at the table. And it's now come out, obviously, that she was told she was going to be on the card. She was invited down. She's told sponsors, friends, family who have all started to purchase tickets for the event, and now she's not going to be on it. Look, boxers have a image already for not treating fighters in the best way, i.e. making promises and then not delivering. And this is just another example. The issue here is, unlike doing it to some of the younger fighters that obviously don't want to lose their promotional deal, Savannah is an established professional. She's she is a unified world champion. She has a commercial appeal across other promoters as well, and she has commercial appeal in another discipline with the PFL. She doesn't need boxer.
Yeah.
She is in a position now to stick two things up to Ben, stick two things up to Sky Sports, and go as a free agent to make the best fights for the end of her career. The unfortunate thing is here, Ben has dropped a massive clanger, because if you add Savannah Marshall to this card and it goes in the co-main event above Karis Arsenstall and Ray Chapman, you've got three pretty decent enough fights there to build this card on. Now you are missing. There is a massive hole for another established female fighter that isn't going to be filled now. Because, I mean, Emma Dolan defending a Commonwealth title was being spoken about, but it's not the same.
It's
nowhere near big enough.
It's not, mate. They've took the biggest name off the card, pretty much. And then at the other end of the spectrum, is young, and I'm just saying young because she's young. I'm not patronising her. Francesca
21.
Hennessy,
She is young.
Who was told to come down again. Her and Bradley Skeet have got there expecting a fight, and nothing. It's just piss poor management. Not a text, not an email, not a call. Doesn't have to be Ben. I know Ben's busy and Ben's the figurehead, etc. But Ben's got people. Somebody somewhere has missed a trick. Why would you not? I'll give you an example. I work in sales and marketing. I've got a meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock with a potential partner, supplier. I'm not going to have them travel from London to Lincolnshire for a meeting at 11 a.m. and just have a meeting with somebody else and have them sat in reception and say, oh, sorry, I'm seeing somebody else, or you're not involved in this meeting. It's bad practice in business. It's bad practice in life in general. The problem for Ben is I don't believe Boxer and Ben Shalom are in a strong enough position to be able to piss fighters off and risk. I think that this is it in terms of Savannah Marshall. And what you've also got to remember is Francesca Hennessy is an up-and-coming fighter. She's the daughter of a millionaire, so she doesn't need... Her dad's a promoter himself, albeit sort of fringe. Mick doesn't really do many shows himself, but he provides fighters, works with Wasserman, works with Sky, works with Frank. You know, he works with all the promoters. She's just joined Boxer because, you know, they had a good female stable and it worked for her. But now he's pissed her off. She don't need it. She'll just turn her back on him. And I think in terms of Savannah, I don't think we'll see her fight on Sky under the Boxer banner again. I don't know. What do you think?
Fran's an interesting one. So Hennessy, as you said, Mick Hennessy, obviously best ever fighter he probably promoted, or most well known, shall we say. He was Tyson Fury's promoted that night in Düsseldorf when he beat Klitschko. He was his main promoter for that. Like you said, nowadays he mainly puts his fighters on cards, and 80% of his fighters have done deals with Boxer and Sky Sports since the Boxer deal came into play. So there you go, Ben. 80% of your opponents that you're getting for your fighters, you've just pissed off the man that has been supplying them to you. Like, it's not business sense. It doesn't.
It's career suicide.
It doesn't look best. I mean, the interesting thing from Fran, and I'm happy to be proven wrong on this, I'm pretty sure when the Adam Azim Lipinets card was initially announced, she was scheduled to be on it. She then got moved because obviously they're speaking about putting her on this Albert Hall card, which makes sense. I don't mind her moving off of the card last weekend for a fight a month later. Now, if something doesn't come up for her in the next week and she's not on this card in March, then it's just piss poor. I mean, Fran Hennessy's a 21-year-old kid. She's 5-0. She's exciting. She dances her way to the ring. She delivers. She picks up her first title at Selhurst Park last June, which was her last fight. There's a potential there for her to be another female name alongside Caroline Dubois, or what the trail that Savannah Marshall has helped to blaze for female boxing. And Boxer are dropping the ball. I mean, the only saving grace for Boxer is this announcement today. Rumours of this announcement today.
Rumours, isn't it?
It's like it's going to happen in Wolverhampton. And they've announced, they've said this is the main event. Fraser Clark's come back on the card. And also Sam Egerton and Lee Cutler is the third fight they've mentioned.
Yeah, so I saw Sam said he had an announcement
said it was Boxer, said it was Sky, and then Lee Cutler, who obviously is trained by Josh Pritchard, he works with Shane McGuigan. It looks like the fight for that. So it's not going back to what we were talking about. It's not the first time we've seen Boxer in this position. They have, in their short history of being a main TV promoter, we've seen them do it 3 or 4 times to fighters. I mean, to do it to 2 fighters on the same cards, I run out of words for it. To do it to a fighter that you need more than she needs you, and Savannah Marshall is also, speechless. She probably made the decision to turn down staying with PFL for another fight under the pretense that she was going to get a boxing fight on this historic Albert Hall card. That's at 36 years old. Savannah doesn't need that. It's just a mess, and whatever Boxer are now going to do to fill out the rest of this Albert Hall card, it's going to be tainted for me, because you had a perfect slot for Savannah to go in that co-main event just above Karis and Raven, and then Fran to kick off the broadcast. Fran starting your Sky Sports broadcast for that night of boxing is what you needed. Fingers crossed they can still get an opponent for her and get her on the card, but I'm with you, mate. Savannah Marshall, I don't think we'll see fight on Sky again in a boxing guise anyway.
Not on the Boxer.
Yeah, look, she should just become, you said it earlier, she should become a free agent. She should move around. She's got 2 or 3 fights left if she wants them. Make the biggest fights you possibly can to, safety-proof your future and enhance your legacy. That's the best thing she can do now.
It saddens me because it feels like a promoter just showing what we all know, that they just don't give a shit. It just does not give a shit about these two these 2 fighters, both at differing ends of the spectrum. So we can't even say, look, he's favouring a world champion or he's favouring a prospect that's got longer left. It's like
there's no rhyme or reason to how he does things. He just Boxer. Let's not put it all on Ben. There's no rhyme or reason to how the organisation works. So this Royal Albert Hall card is fantastic. But you've got, as we said before, a Welsh girl and a Scouser as your main event in London. That's another I know Albert Hall is historic. I get what it's doing.
Yeah, it's an anomaly.
But it doesn't make sense to do. And other business things they've done don't make sense. But look, Caroline Dubois' opponent got announced today for the card. Let's just, as we're covering this card, it's a WBC number 1. Yeah, I mean, there's rumours going around that Caroline isn't going to get a unification fight this year because both Terry Harper and Beatrice have their fights lined up. So in that case, she's young as well. Stay active, get your mandatory out of the way so the 3% boys can't strip her for a bullshit reason when a fight gets made further down the line that we actually want to see. But I said it before she fought Kamara to you and Sam, I think, and I'll say it again. At some point, just fighting a certain level of opponent, yes, you can only beat what's in front of you. She's going to become frustrated with it. She's going to take her eye off the ball. She's going to start looking for other challenges. Yes, she's 23 or 24, sorry, just turned 24. So she's not reached her peak or prime yet. But if she's only getting a certain level of opponent to knock over and she's not getting the financial rewards, never mind the challenges she wants to see in the ring, she'll end up slipping up and she'll lose what is her high level of potential for big fights. I mean, yes, we're seeing her active. Yes, Caroline Dubois is fantastic on this card. But Beatrice Ferreira, Terry Harper, I mean, anything, even a fighter moving up in weight to take on a different challenge, anything is probably better than another mandatory that looks good on paper but it's going to be overmatched and overwhelmed.
Yeah, I don't like. Do you know what this feels like to me? It feels like Ben Shalom knows that he's coming towards the end of his deal. He's not renegotiating, so he just don't give a shit. It feels like he's like half out the door. I don't believe that's true, but I'm trying to justify the reasons why he would act so unprofessional. It's so unprofessional. Do you get what I'm saying? And Ben's the one that moans about being bullied and mistreated and other people being unprofessional. And then publicly, he's so unprofessional. He could have, at the very least, contacted, or his people contacted both of them and said, look, for whatever reasons, I can't get you a fight on this card. By all means, come down. We'll do some press. We'll talk about maybe making a fight further down the line and on a big card in Birmingham or in the summer. But to just sort of mug them off, it stinks, man. It stinks. I've never seen this before. I've never known this happen before. Absolutely never seen this happen before. There's always been a reason why a fighter's been removed from a card or taken off a card or not allowed in a show. There's always something. They've always done something or said something. This is just, it's mental. It's absolutely mental. It's like someone's had a day off or called in sick and they were responsible for calling these two and it just didn't happen.
Yeah,
just can't get my head around it, man.
I don't get it. Ben goes, like you've just said, Ben goes on about being the one that's treated like the baby in the room, that's not shown the respect, that, you know, feels like he's the one that they're all whispering about behind his back or he's not told the details. And then he carries himself and his promotional company like this. I mean, let's caveat everything we're saying with we don't know the full ins and outs. We're not on the inside of Boxer.
It's all guesswork.
We haven't heard any comment from Ben Shalom yet. We've only heard what Savannah and Fran have come out and said. So let's wait and see. We'll give Ben a right of reply. But it's not the first time we've seen it, is it? It's not the first time we've seen it.
Nope.
We know he's negotiated his fighters in certain ways. I mean, look how hard it was for Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark to happen the first time. Fabio had to give up his matchroom deal to become a free agent for that fight to happen. Ben pulled out of purse bids 3 times. Pulled Fraser out of purse bids 3 times. In the end, Fabio went, fine, Eddie, look, thank you for everything you've done for me, getting me into this position. I need to do this fight. I'm going to have to leave you. And now he's gone to Queensbury. But the fact is, the fact he made a British champion become a free agent just to allow a fight to happen as well. It's just messy. He hasn't handled the things in the best business sense, and people are starting to work thin with it after 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, just the last thing on this before we move on, but what's laughable and ironic about it is Ben, as we said, he's quick to say, you know, when they say, oh, he's not ready and he's inexperienced and he kicks off about that, you know, yes, I'm new, but, you know, I've been in boxing and I've done this and done that. And then acts so unprofessional like this. He's playing right into the other promoter's hands. He's doing everything they said that he would do. He's been unprofessional. He's shitting on his boxers and, you know, yeah. But anyway, look, it's a mess. it's all guesswork from ourselves. We're just giving our opinion, but as I say, it is all guesswork. Before we move on to the next subject, just a quick one that I've just seen. I don't know if you've seen that Miguel Medueno that Keyshawn Davis beat has been brought in to fight Duarte.
I like that for sense of keeping Duarte busy, but the other option that was apparently on the table, Eddie Hearn came out and said yesterday, was they put an offer in for Dalton Smith to fight him in April, May time.
Way better
Much
fight.
better fight.
I mean, Duarte is coming off a loss,
Yeah.
albeit a UD, but it's still a loss.
Look, Top Rank need to do what they can to save the few shows that they have and, future-proof themselves. Not Top Rank, sorry, Golden Boy needs to do what they can to save their few shows that they have at the moment. So you understand them giving Duarte a standing opponent, but as we said before, this isn't the UFC. When there's a standing opponent, it's very rarely as good as what the fight already was. It's normally a massive drop down, and this is...
Yeah, a drop down. Right. Another farcical merry-go-round of fights. I'll say two names, Canelo and Crawford. What the hell has gone on this week? We've gone from negotiating the fight, an agreement in principle is there for the fight, to now the fight's not happening and Canelo's potentially fighting a Disney guy that I don't really want to say his name, Jake Paul. What the hell's gone on here, mate? What's gone on this week?
Right, really? So you've gone from an announcement that a fight's made that isn't really an announcement that a fight's made to the announcement announcing a fight that wasn't really an announcement saying it's completely off and not happening. And it's happened all in the time that most of us have done half a working week. Like you blink and you miss it kind of thing. If you miss the announcement on Monday because you had a day off social media and you see the fight's off, you'd be going, never knew the fight was announced. It was one of those announcements. I really don't know where I stand on Canelo anymore. So his legacy and what he's achieved in boxing in modern times will stay unmatched and unrivaled, I think, for a long time, is my opinion on it. I don't think how he's gone about his business and how he, in 13 months, completely unified the 168 division, I don't think we'll ever see that happen again. However, for the last 18 months or so now, he's been cherry-picking his opponents. He's been doing fights he wants to do. Completely his prerogative. He's got every right to do that, you could say, because of the position he's in. My issue now is you're talking about him going and earning a shed load of money fighting the Disney Channel kids. That is him cashing out. If he goes over to make the Jake Paul fight...
retire.
Retire. But if he's not going to retire, this 3% brigade, the governing bodies, need to grow a set and strip him of their serious world titles. Fine.
Absolutely.
You want to go over and have this fight. You want to go and make a shed ton of money. Maurizio's going to put a I Love Canelo belt on the fight for him and Jake to fight for anyway. That's guaranteed. Strip them of your main fights because the 168-pound division is stagnated and dormant because of one Mexican. I don't care that he is one of the top 3 pound-for-pound fighters and a generational great. Shouldn't allow a division to stagnate. Go and fight Jake Paul. Go and earn more money than you probably earned in your last 5 fights combined in one night. But let the division breathe. Let the likes of Callum Simpson and Billy, etc., get their fights that they deserve and that they're building towards. Stop holding a division to ransom just because he's your favourite little Mexican and he's your little buddy that you play golf with and you don't want to strip him. That's where I'm at with it.
I'm exactly the same. It's a piss take. I don't know what the Crawford non-announcement was about. It makes absolutely no sense. They said the fight was done in principle. There was an agreement. We were waiting for a date announcement, but in between that, they announced that Jake Paul had got the fight against Canelo. So I'm on the same page as you. You can't hold the division up. It shows favoritism. It's more proof than we've ever needed that favoritism and favors get done for favored fighters. Don't know if I said favor and favorable enough times.
One more time.
Yeah, the Suleimans at risk of getting sued, but they're not going to see this. But they've always done deals with their mates. They've always favored Mexican fighters. Whether you say I'm isolating an incident and spreading shit, then I can back that shit up with receipts because it's out there. Canelo's held this division up for, as you say, for 18 months. There's fighters out there that, you know, you reeled off some names, but even the likes of Caleb Plant, you know, Balanga, there's people that are deserving of shots at world titles if it's not against Canelo. Because if Canelo's not around, it opens up the division to so many fights. As you said, we've got Brits like Callum Simpson that would be worthy of a potential eliminator to fight for a world title. But instead, we're expected to hang around and wait another 6 months for Canelo to even fight before he then decides whether he fights at 175 or 168. He needs to just, as you said, the governing bodies need to grow a set of balls and say, right, look, you either defend this. I mean, let's use an example. Tyson Fury beats Klitschko in Dusseldorf, right? Within 7 days, the IBF gave him a 90-day mandatory to defend their belt, knowing before he went into the fight that there was a rematch clause, and stripped him, albeit to favour another British fighter that got their percentage for him winning a time. But you know what I'm saying?
Mate, I mean, let's look at
one rule for one and one rule for another.
So let's look at it like this. Weekend just gone, we had what did we have? We had David Morrell and David Benavidez, didn't we? Let's be really honest. Those are two 168 fighters that have gone up to 175 because they can get opportunities up at 175 because of the Mexican we've just been talking about. If they had their balls about them and stripped Canelo, that fight would have been at 168 for the vacant title, which is where they're both at their best. And that division would be moving along now. But it's a real shame that, well, it's not, it is a real shame that it looks like we're not going to see Canelo and Crawford. I mean, look.
Can I tell you a fight that I think we're going to see announced this year? Canelo against Carl Froch. That is the fight I believe we will see. If he fights the Disney guy, I think Carl Froch is going to come out of the woodwork. I've got a fucking funny feeling because Carl Froch could fight him for his belt, to be fair.
Yeah.
Or he could fight him in a triangle cage, stood on one leg, fucking with blindfolds on, dressed as Teletubbies. They might as well because it's a fucking circus. Yeah. But I've just got a feeling that if Canelo opens this Pandora's box of this influencer boxing, then I think that's it then. It just opens a Pandora's box and it just goes because the lines have always been clear between this and boxing as such. They've always they're going to blur that. Once Canelo steps over, I know he boxed Tommy Fury, but Tommy Fury is a boxer, and that's why I'm doing that because he's not. He's the brother of a great boxer. The difference is that learned
Tommy Fury had a similar record to Jake Paul, so that was two novices. Yes, it was given.
You could justify the fight, but what I mean is that was a supposed real boxer fighting an influencer boxer. But if Canelo goes over there and fights him, mate, we're off to the races. They'll all come out of the woodwork. They will see Andre Ward. I'm telling you. If they see Canelo doing it and the money that they're talking about, to be fair, it's not as much as I thought. They reckon he'll make 90 million as a flat fee. I thought it'd be way more than that. I thought we'd be talking double that. But I don't know.
Look, the last thing
I don't want to see.
The last thing I'm going to say on this is the WBC's rankings will be updated Monday after next. If Jake Paul magically finds himself in the top 15, that's the biggest indication. If we
How?
Brown envelopes, that's the last thing I'm saying. If he's in that top 15 for the WBC, then we know what's happening in May. And I've given it as more airtime than I want to see.
I hope not. Right, moving on. Back to the British boxing scene. Anthony Kakachi looks like he's fighting Lee Wood.
Fantastic.
What do you think of that?
Fantastic fight. Just the sort of domestic monster that Queensberry would have wanted for their first fight with DAZN, because that's what it looks like it's going to be. For those who haven't heard, Queensberry are doing a press conference in Manchester on Monday, and that press conference is going to be announcing their first lot of fights with DAZN. So starting with Kakachi and Wood in April, I mean, what an absolute banger of a fight. What a fantastic night. I've said my piece on the fact that he's had to lose his IBF belt to do it. Won't say it again. We understand it. That's that. I just hope that all the frustrations Lee Woods had with injuries, promotional disputes, etc., like we said on No Punches Pulled the other night, I hope that hasn't taken too much out of him, because they're both at the stage of their career where any elongated layoff could have an adverse effect on them. And I don't want that to be the reason why Lee Wood puts in a substandard performance. I think if he's at his best, he beats Kakachi. That's my personal opinion before we see anything to do with him. But it's an absolutely bolting fight. Sold out arena, like I said to you earlier, mate. Split it in half like they've done for him against Conlon and Warrington. Have Kakachi on one side, have Wood on the other. Get a belting atmosphere.
I've only ever seen that once, and I mean I've been to hundreds of boxing events, big sold out world title shows, and little small halls and amateurs. But the best atmosphere I've ever experienced was Amir Khan against Scott Lawton when Amir Khan was on the up and up, 2007 I want to say, or 10 or whatever. But it had crazy when I look back. But it had Tony Bellew's debut, Paul Smith fresh off the Contender Series was fighting. My brother boxed for the English featherweight title. I was sat in between Bruno and Ricky Hatton. It was massive. But anyway, the Nottingham Ice Arena, as it was then, shaped like a bowl, but I've never seen this, and it was literally split in half, and they had a line of police in between, and it had Scott Lawton fans on one side, Amir Khan on the other side, all good-natured, it was just, but there was drums and the noise, and it was, it was like a cauldron. I've never, ever, ever heard noise like that since, but I believe that the Irish, the Paddies, and the people from Nottingham, because Lee Wood can sell tickets, Kakachi can sell tickets. Firecracker of a fight.
From what I've heard from people I know that were at Wood and Warrington, having that arena split in half, the Leeds fans on one side and Notts on the other, apparently that atmosphere was absolutely mental that night.
Mr. Jones. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited for the undercard as well. I don't know who'll be on it.
Well, this is one of the questions that's being asked. Is this show going to be a Queensberry and Matchroom co-pro, which is what Pat said in his previous comment? I don't know, because obviously Wood left Matchroom under such a cloud, didn't he? Eddie said he was losing us money. It doesn't make sense. So will he go back? But Queensberry have got enough fighters on their own. I mean, the DAZN deal coupled with the Saudi money is, a lot of money for Queensberry, and they're going to have even more money to play with, leaving, lineal broadcast TV behind for a subscription platform. So it can only improve boxing. I mean, there's another fight that they're going to be announcing on Monday, mate. I'd imagine this will be a separate card. Joe Joyce and Dillian White.
I saw that, yeah.
Regardless of what you think of the fight, it will sell, mate. It will sell.
Oh yeah. Without a shadow. I mean, Dillian sells. Joel sell just on the basis of what's he got left. Dillian White always sells tickets anyway.
It's interesting with Joe though, because Joe's fighting, isn't he, on the 1st of March. So Joe was meant to beat Chisora last summer and he lost, didn't he? So if they announce it on Monday, but Pat, it looks like Wood and Kakachi's been announced on Monday, which is
absolute firecracker of a fight. Absolute firecracker of a fight. Any headlines you'd like to discuss, Liam? Because you've got your finger on the pulse. You're the stat guy. What you got for us?
You had the Catterall Barbosa Jr. sort of like press launch.
They had the kickoff presser today.
Barbosa, for someone that's normally quite brash and not shy in coming forward, very quiet today. Very quiet. I mean, Jack, bless him.
I think he knows he's in a fight, man.
Jack, bless him, didn't bring his crayons up on stage this time, but Jack was Jack. He answered the questions. He's thanked his promoters, said, look, he's put the heat a bit on the WBO and said, look, I'm not doing any of this again. This is my final time I'm doing an interim or an eliminator or a final anything. He sort of put it on the WBO, which is out of character for Jack, but good to see him putting the heat back on other people because he can't do any more. If he keeps winning fights, it's not him that's not giving him the opportunities.
No.
Look, I've said I think Jack is going to make a big statement, and just seeing Barbosa today has made me even more confident. I think Barbosa knows he's in a fight. He knows he's up to something. But we'll see next week. We've got the workouts and everything to come with that. Not a lot else really, mate. Obviously, Caroline Dubois' opponent getting announced. The leaked, the rumoured announcements of what the DAZN card's going to look like. No news.
Have you seen that? What Jams is saying there about Joyce, possibly Kubrat?
So adding to the list with Fabio Wardley, Moses Talmer, Anthony Joshua.
I think I've been told if I'm a good boy and eat all my greens, I'll get the next shot at Kubrat Pulev.
The interesting thing is no announcement on a replacement opponent for Zach Parker for this weekend. So I think that means we're gonna.
Did they not name? Who did I say yesterday?
Callum Simpson,
who did I see? Yeah. Oh no, sorry. Callum
put his name forward, but it looks like that is staying as.
Just a quick one because we cover other fight spots as well. Have you heard any more on the impending John Jones announcement? So John Jones has teased that he's got an announcement. We're all thinking it's the Aspinall fight. I don't think it is.
Let me refresh his Instagram now. See if he's put anything out.
I think it'll be something stupid, like he's bringing a range of fucking barbecue sauce out or some mentalness, a dog training.
In 24 hours, I have a big announcement. That was 23 hours ago. So if whatever the announcement is, we're getting close to it. I don't think it's Tom Aspinall, unfortunately.
I don't myself.
John Jones training camps. He's gonna, he's got his summer training camps for kids or something like that. It's gonna be.
Yeah, it'll be something, won't it? It'll be doing a food drive for the homeless or something, because he does a lot of work. But yeah, I'd love to see that fight, but on the flip side, I wouldn't. John Jones is one of my favourite fighters of all time. I've got Brit bias for Tom Aspinall, so it's one of them fights that I'll be watching through my fingers. Jams, what are you saying there, brother? Jams has said Ash Lane versus Joe McGrail fight is off after Joe suffered a back injury. Gutted.
That's a shame as well.
Gutted. Is that not the second time in 2 fights that McGrail? Oh no.
That's Peter
McGrail. No, that was Dennis McCann, wasn't it? It was Dennis. Dennis, where are you? I've tried to get the interview with Dennis. I just got a complete radio silence.
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier.
Yeah, we got that yesterday. We've just said they've announced Miguel. What's his surname? The guy who fought Keyshawn Davis. Madueno. Jams. He's fighting Miguel Madueno. He lost to Keyshawn Davis in. I've got it here. July last year.
Let's have a look. What else is there?
There's not a lot really. I mean, we've had a few fight announcements. We've got Chisora fighting at the weekend. We've got Pitters fighting tomorrow, Friday. We've got a big UFC card, UFC 312. So yeah, I think we'll probably wrap it up there, Liam. It's a short and sweet one for Straight Talk episode 4. Thanks for joining me as always, brother. I appreciate you giving me your time. As always, people, follow Liam _Tully 9 on his socials. Any shows or any announcements about Liam? I know there's been a bit of change with Liam's fight night.
Bit of change, mate. Need to have a conversation and then get something announced for next week.
Yeah, I think we're going to pick that back up and hopefully get that over on Jay's Fight Talk at some point in the coming weeks, because that show is well received. People love it, and people are asking about it. So we're going to get that back up and running. It's going to be changing platforms, but it'll be back out there ASAP. So just keep your eyes peeled. Thanks for everyone that's joined us. DJ Pat, Jams Boxing. Thank you everybody for joining us, interacting, commenting. Sam, we'll see you tomorrow. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Keep punching.
Everybody, see you soon.